BJP's desire to clinch the final trophy in Delhi and the Aam Aadmi Party's need to keep a toehold in Delhi has led to what has been a very, very vitriolic campaign that ended just a couple of hours ago. Here's a roundup of the 10 controversies, the top 10 pick of controversies in the run-up to the Delhi election. And I can tell you, it wasn't easy picking these 10.
After the blitzkrieg of 2014, if there ever was a blockbuster assembly election, it is this.
15 फरवरी को शपथ ग्रहण समारोह होगा।
ये झूठ और सच्चाई की लड़ाई है।
And as the parties fire their final campaign salvos today, it's a good time to run you through the top 10 highlights of one of the fiercest state election campaigns.
पूरी दिल्ली को फ्री वाईफाई से कनेक्ट करेंगे।
The tone was set for the epic bickering of this campaign when Arvind Kejriwal publicly requested Kiran Bedi to unblock him on social media sites now that she was a full-fledged Neta. Then came the fracas over Republic Day after Kiran Bedi got a front row seat while former Chief Minister Kejriwal wasn't even invited. And just when Kejriwal's campaign was gathering speed, founder member Shanti Bhushan dropped a bombshell, saying Kejriwal would not make a good Chief Minister. The Congress's Chief Ministerial face Ajay Maken was caught clueless as former Congress Minister Krishna Tirath hopped over to the BJP. The Aam Aadmi Party was ready for this, but it still stung, with popular former Aam Aadmi face Shazia Ilmi and ousted former member Vinod Kumar Bini making the deal with Amit Shah. Then Delhi was suddenly treated to a silent Kiran Bedi, who said she had a sore throat to nurse, sparking whispers of a gag order. Meanwhile, Kejriwal continued to bristle with the Election Commission, defiantly repeating his call for voters to accept money from other parties, but to vote for the Aam Aadmi Party. When things were faltering for Kiran Bedi, her campaign in charge quit, accusing Bedi of being autocratic, but he was cajoled back into the BJP a few hours later. Then came allegations of offensive and sexist comments from Aam Aadmi Party leader Kumar Vishwas at Kiran Bedi. The party denied the whole controversy. And finally, nobody will forget the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party's fiercest face-off over the BJP's cartoon ads attacking Kejriwal. First over swearing on his children and then using a caste angle. Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
Well, we're going to try and get some non-bickering answers as we head into the first debate tonight. On to the point right here on Headlines Today. Mudslinging, controversies, spats, bickering, quarrels. It has been 23 days ever since the election dates were actually announced by the Election Commission of literally non-stop controversies, bitterness and very, very vicious attacks. Almost nothing really that sacred anymore. Has this been then the most bitter campaign that Delhi has ever seen, and what made it really so bitter? That's what we're debating tonight. And joining me on the debate, C.R. Kesavan, spokesperson of the Congress Party, Shaina NC, leader and spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party. We'll have a member of the Aam Aadmi Party in just a moment, but joining me also are our colleagues, Executive Editor Javed Ansari and our correspondent Ankit Tyagi, who's he hasn't been in the office for the last 23 days. He's only been out there in the field. He's been soaking up the flavor of the voter, what people really want, what people think about the things being said out there. So Ankit, I want to quickly come to you first because you covered the last Delhi election as well. And many people thought that was, a hard-fought one where, anything goes. There was nothing sacred anymore. All the boundaries were blurred. Are we right in saying that this one totally breaks that record in terms of the ferociousness of the no-holds-barred attacks coming from all sides, Ankit?
Absolutely, Shiv. No doubt about that, and it breaks the record by many miles. Last time when the election took place in 2013, there was a stark difference. Aam Aadmi Party was very new. A lot of people were calling them, not experienced in the political science of elections. This time, they also got all their combinations as far as political, bickering is concerned. Absolutely right. They knew when to hit. They knew what to do. The BJP, of course, they were initially supremely confident, and when they got Kiran Bedi in, that no doubt about, saying that initially Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party were actually caught on the back foot. They didn't know what to do with Kiran Bedi. It was only after the campaign picked up, they actually were able to counter her. And then the Congress Party, right at the end, with Rahul Gandhi coming in, with Sonia Gandhi also throwing her hat, and Rahul Gandhi doing those massive road shows, it was as if the game is of anybody, and every party sensing a chance. Voters were slightly confused. They went all out. There was ads on radio, Twitter war, of course, everybody knows about that, and on the streets. In fact, today also, Shiv, just right in the end, you saw what was happening in CP. One side Aam Aadmi Party, one side BJP, and sloganeering at its best.
And the best part about the Delhi election is nobody anywhere in the country needs to be explained to, the prestige value of a Delhi election and why so much resource, why so much investment, why so much mental power is poured into an election in the national capital. Shaina NC, the thing is, I'm not looking for a political fight today. God knows for the last 23 days, that's all we've pretty much had. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to appeal to your political scientist side and ask you, as an observer, Shaina, what do you think made this such a bitter election, such a ferocious campaign?
I don't think it's a ferocious campaign, but it's definitely a campaign that we wouldn't want to be complacent about, because we have seen absolute injustice happen to the people in Delhi. You had an election a few months ago where you saw that there wasn't a clear majority, and the outcome of that was people who were touching the untouchables, promising
But you're not answering my
each
question,
other.
you're giving me a spokesperson's answer.
I'm coming to the point. So I'm trying to tell you, post 49 days, you saw the same people running away from their responsibility, trying all kinds of politicking all across the country, failing again, and
Shaina,
coming
you're not
back
answering
here
my question.
with false promises. So this is exactly my point. You've had an entire propaganda, drama, theatrics for so many months where people of Delhi have only said what's going on. They want a stable government, they want leadership, they want progress, and that can only happen.
I think you're sidestepping the question, because most of that ferociousness actually came from the BJP itself.
Absolutely
Shaina.
not.
Is that why you're sidestepping the question?
I don't think this is about a competition on who was more aggressive in a campaign. But if there are areas of grey where the so-called uncorrupt are proven to be more than corrupt, where there are so many exposés which are coming out, shouldn't the people of Delhi and the voter know about the flip side, so that they make the right choice?
Your point is that it's the state in which Delhi had been left that made this.
Companies giving 2 crores worth of donations on one day at one time, and you have you tracking it down to the slums where the directors are slum dwellers.
So you're saying that it's issues in Delhi that actually fueled the ferocity of this entire campaign. I don't know if Atishi of the Aam Aadmi Party has been able to hear what Shaina has just said, but Atishi, Shaina's point is that the manner in which the Aam Aadmi Party ran away, the promises it made, what it, the condition in which it left Delhi in, that's what fueled the very, very personal, very ferocious kind of nature of this campaign, even though Shaina says that it wasn't that ferocious. Yeah, I take your point. Atishi, quick response to that.
And lies.
But I don't want, Atishi, if I can ask you to restrain yourself, not a BJP AAP kind of answer. I'm asking you individually, what do you think made it such a fierce, vicious, no holds barred kind of fight? Because the one thing we can agree on is few people have seen an election like this recently.
I think that actually the reason for this is the fact that the BJP could very steadily right from the beginning see the fact that they had lost a lot of ground from the Lok Sabha election. From the time when Prime Minister Modi's Ramlila Maidan rally happened, I think there was a realization in the BJP that the Aam Aadmi Party had gained its stronghold back in Delhi, that public support
So you're
was
saying
with
it's
the Aam Aadmi
insecurity?
Party, and that is the reason why the BJP launched such a vicious campaign. On the other hand, if you see the Aam Aadmi Party from about mid-November when we started our election campaign has actually been presenting a constructive agenda, a positive
Not
vision
always.
for the people of Delhi, a blueprint for how we can transform Delhi into world-class city, be it in terms of providing Wi-Fi, be it in terms of ensuring employment, be it in terms of electricity tariffs, opening new colleges.
But it's not always been just about that.
Vision that Aam Aadmi Party has presented.
Atishi, I want to ask you a follow-up.
If you see from November onwards, that is precisely what the focus of the Aam Aadmi Party.
But would you agree, Atishi, would you agree that the ferocity of the BJP's own attack on the Aam Aadmi Party has in many ways diverted the Aam Aadmi Party's attention and taken away from its own impulse to talk about issues and have to directly engage with the BJP, and that's what has made this such a ferocious election campaign?
In fact, Shiv, if you were to look at the entire campaign, I would be curious to know what is it that you see as Aam Aadmi Party's ferocious attack. The Aam Aadmi Party has refrained from actually any kind of personal attack. It's the BJP that has repeatedly said, Arvind Kejriwal Naxali hai, usse jungle bhej do. They have said Arvind Kejriwal Madari hai. They have said Arvind Kejriwal Bandar hai. Arvind Kejriwal Badnaseeb hai. Arvind Kejriwal Haramkhor hai. This is the kind of language that the BJP has repeatedly used.
Okay, so
Actually, I am of the opinion that this kind of negative campaign is going to heavily backfire against the BJP, because the people of Delhi are actually looking for a vision. The people of Delhi are looking for a constructive politics.
No, I
they
think
are not interested in this politics of personal attacks.
Shaina has said that she doesn't agree that it was a ferocious campaign. An election campaign is like that, and in many ways I do agree with her. An election is an election, and that parties do what they need to win. But I don't think we're arguing here on the ferocity or the level of ferocity. I want to bring in Javed before I go back to Shaina and bring in C.R. Kesavan of the Congress as well. Javed, have you seen a fiercer election than this one in Delhi? Almost a minute by minute to and fro between the the several different protagonists in this election. It was almost like a movie playing out over 23 days.
Shiv, as far as Delhi is concerned, I can't remember an election that was fought this hard, that was this bitter and this personal. I've seen elections in 87, in 89 when things were much worse. But having said that, Delhi, and there are many reasons for this. For the first time since Mr. Narendra Modi became Prime Minister, the BJP faces a real challenge.
Right.
So it was because of issues involved, it was because of personalities involved, and the significance, the spin-off from this election. The results will have a huge bearing. There are huge stakes both for Mr. Kejriwal as well as for the BJP government, and therefore all that added to it, 24/7 non-stop media coverage, because this is in the heart of the country, the capital, and therefore Delhi sometimes seems to attract a lot of attention, disproportionate to its numbers and its importance. So nonetheless, all this combined, I'm sure once the heat and dust settles down, then all these ladies and gentlemen in our panel and outside will reflect on some of the things that were said and perhaps regret having said it.
Will regret having said that. I mean, that will be a refreshing thing to actually see. Shaina, before I come to you, I want to bring in Kesavan. Kesavan, right through this entire election, the Congress has, I like to put it this way, the Congress has had a sort of unique position in the narrative as it plays out in the media. Because the general sense is that the Congress is a number 3, it's not part of the conversation, voters are not thinking about the Congress, etc., etc. But I'm not asking you about that, I'm not asking you to address that particular issue. From your perspective in the Congress, what do you think has made this such an unbelievably bitter, election so far? We've seen, like Javed said, he can't remember seeing anything like this since 87.
Promises, pledges, policy and programs. It's because of the BJP and AAP, it's become about, naked thirst for power and personalities, and that is because of a fundamental reason. The BJP, which didn't even have a manifesto, has failed to deliver in the last 9 months, so it's become a zero-sum game. Today, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu said, it is not a referendum on the PM, it's an alibi. On the other side, you have AAP, who basically shied away and run away from responsibility of, of the 1.5 month infamous rule and not delivering. So it became a, raucous fight between these two about personalities.
A very personal
and that
one,
is why
yes.
issues were not discussed. And I'll give you an example. When when Kiran Bedi was asked to debate Mr. Kejriwal and Ajay Maken, she refused. But Kejriwal refused to debate Ajay Maken. So you have Congress who wants to discuss issues and you have two debate dodgers on the other side. And you didn't mention 2-3 things. And look at the last 3 days, Shiv. The BJP talks about northeastern people as immigrants.
Right.
Is this an issue you want to discuss? And you say that the BJP is confident.
Don't make an issue out of a non-issue. We were the only party that even mentioned it in our manifesto.
You have the EVM,
we were the only party that even mentioned it in our manifesto. Don't make a clerical issue into an issue.
If there is a problem with machines, you can say they are malfunctioning, not tampering. Are they worried about losing? So I don't understand the media and the polls who say both of them, AAP is going to win, who are nervous, and BJP is already given an alibi. I think the people also have had a clear choice with the Congress party.
No, you make an interesting point. I want to put that to Shaina.
And I think we'll see on the 10th, because last time everybody around, the dark house was...
No, on the 10th everything's going to be clear.
Well, and I think this time the dark house is the Congress party.
Shaina, a point that Kesavan made that I want to raise. I know you're raising your hand. I know you have a response. You have the right to respond as well. But, the northeastern comment, you've said what you wanted to say. The BJP has said what you wanted to say. Let's not divert the issue. Simple question. Kesavan says, and I tend to agree, and I think that's been largely written about as well, is how this has been such a personality-centric election that issues have been largely sidestepped. We've seen issues come out from all three parties, but not as much as the strong personality focus that we've actually seen. And Kesavan says that's the reason why it's been so personal. When your personalities are driving the campaign, it's going to be about tutu meme, and that's what it was. Shaina.
I sympathize with Mr. Kesavan because I understand his predicament of not having a personality to project. He doesn't have a leader to project. He doesn't even have the cadre to project anymore. But let me not get into that. We are very proud. We are very proud that we have a charismatic leader in Narendra Modi. We don't need to be apologetic about it. He does belong to the BJP. He will campaign for the BJP. And we are very proud to say we have an organizational setup and a sangathan where from the top leaders to the lowest of the karyakartas have all worked collectively. I don't think this is a strategy that you can fault us on. Constantly questioning why do we have our leaders campaigning for us? Who else should they be campaigning for? Should they be campaigning for anarchist parties who have only believed in drama? I don't think we need to give an explanation there. Coming to the fundamental point, we have an excellent CM candidate, a woman leader in Kiran Bedi, who has had a fabulous track record as an administrator coupled with her criteria.
We know all about Kiranji's CV. We know about Kiran Bedi.
I don't understand why this should become a sign of insecurity for others. You form your own strategy. We are in a right to question. We will question if there are issues that come up which are in this interest of the Delhi voter. And as far as the AAP party goes, they've done enough of damage. They have been caught red-handed not once, twice,
Kesavan, quick rebut, and then I want to go to Atishi.
So the people who just
want to say this. What did Kiran Bedi say today?
Listen to the others now.
Politics is my final surrender to the people of Delhi. That's what Kiran Bedi said. It's not her final surrender has been to the BJP.
I don't understand how the Congress can even afford to speak when they choose to align with the same party that they're ridiculing now.
She is so helpless. She's become the bakra and the scapegoat. Otherwise, why would the top leaders of the BJP say today, Narendra Modi
and I discussed this issue before we walked into the studio.
If it was about Narendra Modi's campaign, why are
ladies and Kesavan, if I could just get my voice through in here sideways for just a moment. For just a moment.
Please answer the question.
Look, see, every question I'm going to ask is actually going to sort of boil down into a shouting match. So I am forced to move to the next question, and I think that's pretty much how the election campaign was also. So I think it's a good demonstration of how things are. But Atishi, you're raising your hand. You want to respond, but I have a fresh question for you, and I hope you will first answer that and then say what you want to say. Is it because that none of the parties represented here have very much to actually say or have things to be embarrassed about as far as issues, promises, manifestos, vision, experiences of the Delhi voter are concerned, and that's why it suited all of you? Congress, BJP, Congress because they've, ruled Delhi for so long. The BJP because, there is a sense of bitterness and they're threatened by the Aam Aadmi Party. The Aam Aadmi Party because you've been, painted as traitors and bhagodas and you've made all these promises that you couldn't keep. And therefore, it suited all three of you, the Congress, the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party, Atishi, to keep this a very personal kind of campaign.
Actually, Shiv, we were the ones who started the election campaign the earliest. From around mid-November, we started our election campaign, and it was set off by actually the process called Delhi Dialogue, where we have been in a process of participatory discussions and engagement with various segments of society in Delhi, be it the women, be it the youth, be it those who live in unauthorized colonies. And far from not having any issues, we were the ones who have actually set the agenda for this election, be it in terms of the number of jobs we are talking about, making it a Wi-Fi city, reducing electricity tariffs, providing water supply to the city of Delhi.
I just want to caution all of our spokespersons that we are past the campaigning time right now, so there can't be any campaigning now.
Just 1 second.
Yeah, no campaigning.
You have to allow me to speak.
Yes.
I didn't get into the didn't get into the fight that the other two spokespersons were having.
Please continue.
On the question of a personality context, the question of the personality contest, I wish the BJP would actually decide which is the personality they are trying to project. First, they
don't worry about us, ma'am. You worry about yourself.
In the personality contest. Then they realize that if they lose this election, then it's going to be a problem for the legitimacy of the Prime Minister. Then they bring in a new personality. They bring in Kiran Bedi as a parachute candidate. Kiran Bedi turns out to be a public relations disaster. So they go back to the personality of the Prime Minister. So I don't think this has been a personality battle, precisely for the reasons that the BJP has not even been clear which personality are they projecting.
Well, they've got two faces in all of their posters, but
personality.
Javed,
and what they have been focusing on is actually the personality of Arvind Kejriwal and very vicious personalized attacks on him.
Quick, I want to get a quick interjection from Javed. Yeah, Shaina, just a moment. Javed, in your experience, is this precisely why, the tone and tonality of this campaign has been this way? Because you've got personalities at the forefront, the stakes are extremely high, the reputations of people like Narendra Modi, Arvind Kejriwal, a person with the maximum experience as far as Ajay Makan, that's how he's been projected is concerned, and that's where this entire bitterness comes from, because this is do or die for so many people. Well, and big names.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots at stake for everybody.
Yeah, including Kiran Bedi.
Including Kiran Bedi. She's been brought in. This was supposed to be a master stroke.
Yeah.
Now, whether this indeed is a master stroke or not, we will know in a few days from now.
Absolutely.
There's a lot riding on Mr. Narendra Modi, for Mr. Narendra Modi, as well as for Mr. Amit Shah. They were the people who were supposed to be with the Midas touch. Now, whether that continues to hold, or will that invincibility myth be busted? For Mr. Kejriwal, if he doesn't win, will he be able to keep his flock together? So there are lots of things. For Congress is fighting hard to remain relevant, to retain whatever little they have by way of support base in Delhi.
Right.
So there's lots writing for all three parties, and therefore, and also because there's a new voter base.
Yes.
There are lots of young voters. The adrenaline is pumping, and perhaps what is missing is some kind of sound, sage leadership from the top as far as all three parties are concerned.
Shaina, the Aam Aadmi Party has been able to, it depends on who you ask, but the Aam Aadmi Party has apparently been able to milk this perception that the vicious attacks coming in from the BJP are because they believe that a game is on as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned. They're insecure, they believe they could actually lose, and they actually feel very insecure about the way things are going, and that's why all these vicious personal attacks have come from the BJP. They've milked that perception politically.
Absolutely not. How long can they play this victim card? I want to ask the people of Delhi just one simple question. Do you want dharnas or do you want development? Do you want drama or do you want a democracy?
Which is what your campaign says.
Do you want repeated debates or do you want delivery? It's important to understand that the 3 Ds for Delhi spell development, democracy and delivery, and that's what's been lacking. We've seen trial and error. You've had Mr. Kejriwal go from Delhi to Banaras, promise the people of Banaras, come back to Delhi, tell the people of Delhi, give me another chance for 5 years. This is not some trial and error. I think we owe it to the city. We owe it to make Delhi into a world-class place, and that can only happen by somebody who has the political will coupled with the backing of a strong, stable government. So my appeal to every voter is just come out and vote and think who you're voting for.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Kesavan. You wanted to come in.
Shiv, I'm very amused to see Shahnaji talking about, deliverance. In the last 9 months, the biggest plank was Lokpal. And see what Anna Hazare said. Both Kiran Bediji and Kejriwal have duped Anna Hazare. Anna Hazare said the bill was passed
You
in
and the
2013.
Aap Party had 49
assented
days.
the
Did
bill
you
on
even
January
raise the
5th,
issue?
2014. It's been a year. The BJP hasn't,
Did you
got
even
any,
raise the
has
issue
not
when
discussed
you
the
were
bill.
in Delhi?
Second thing, they talk about black money and AAP funding, which is a questionable thing.
Yeah.
But where is the black money? 15 lakh black money should have been brought by Republic Day. And look at what we're talking.
Kesavan, I have a fundamental problem with that.
The manifesto because they
This
can't
is the
follow
problem.
The choice is
The
clear, and
issues
I
have
think
been restricted to the manifestos.
They said 8 out of the top 20 districts are in Delhi. That's not because of
Atishi, go ahead. Atishi, go ahead.
Kejriwal rule of the 6 months proxy president.
I've got only a minute left. I want to quickly get in a final voice from Atishi and Javed.
The problem with the BJP is the fact. The problem with the BJP is the fact is that it's been very clear there has been no delivery in the past 9 months, and today even Amit Shah has claimed that they are the Bharatiya Jumla party, not the Bharatiya Janata party. And I think the people of Delhi can see that. The BJP has absolutely no concrete agenda.
And you all are nothing but drama, so I don't even think you should be opining on this.
Like the note,
vicious politics.
Okay, like the note I started on, I feared, and Javed and I both feared before we came into the studio, that the way things are going to play out in this debate are going to be very representative of how they are outside. But I have to say, Kesavan, Shaina and Atishi are very elegant and eloquent in their language, and we hope to see people like you on stage at political rallies and campaigns sometime in the future. Maybe we'll have more issues and less personal stuff being said, but for all the things the three of you have said, I commend you for representing your parties. But let's face it, this was a very personal election. Vicious things were said. Things were said about children, things were said about women, things were said about people's caste. This was,
and the media,
as Javed said, who's been covering elections for so long, definitely nothing comes close as far as the ferocity of the Delhi election. On the 10th, we're going to know who comes out on top. Atishi, Shaina, Kesavan, Javed and Ankit, thank you so much for joining us on the To The Point debate this evening. Very, very enjoyable. We're going to keep talking about this election. It's such an interesting election. So much is happening. All the best analysis with us here on Headlines Today. Thanks very much for watching this edition of To The Point. It's News Today at 9 with Rajdeep Sardesai.